Ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest, some people are just difficult. Maybe it's your boss who constantly criticizes everything you do. Maybe it's that friend who always plays the victim. Maybe it's a family member who knows exactly how to push your buttons. Whatever the case, we all have at least one person in our life who drains our energy, triggers our emotions, and makes us question our sanity. But here's what I need you to understand: difficult people don't actually have power over you. They don't control your emotions, your peace, or your happiness unless you hand them that power. The problem isn't the difficult person. It's the way we let them affect us. And today we're going to change that. The first thing you need to do is take back control of your reactions, because the truth is, you can't change a toxic coworker. You can't make your negative family member suddenly supportive. And you definitely can't force someone to respect you if they don't want to. But what you can do is decide how you respond. The moment you stop reacting emotionally to difficult people is the moment they lose their power over you. Now, let's talk about boundaries, because boundaries are your superpower. If you don't set clear limits, people will keep taking advantage of you. They will keep draining your energy, demanding your time, and making you feel small. Boundaries are not about controlling others, they're about protecting yourself. And the best part, you don't even have to explain them. You don't owe anyone an essay on why you're choosing to prioritize your peace. A simple "I can't make it, that doesn't work for me," or "I need some space" is more than enough. And here's your big one: you have to stop trying to change difficult people. Some people thrive on negativity. Some people love drama. Some people refuse to take responsibility for their actions. And guess what? That is not your problem. Your job is not to fix them, save them, or convince them to be better. Your job is to manage your own energy and focus on what you can control. One of the most powerful things you can do is detach from the drama. Most people react to negativity by fighting back, defending themselves, or trying to prove a point. But difficult people feed off of that. They want you to engage. They want to pull you into their emotional chaos. The best thing you can do: step back. Stop explaining yourself. Stop trying to win the argument. Stop giving them the reaction they're looking for. The less energy you give their behavior, the less power it has over you. And finally, protect your peace at all costs. You do not owe anyone unlimited access to you. If someone is constantly making you feel stressed, drained, or unworthy, you have every right to limit your time around them, or even walk away completely. This doesn't mean you have to cut people out of your life completely, though sometimes that's necessary. It just means you need to put yourself first. Because here's the truth: your peace is worth more than anyone's approval. So starting today, I want you to make a decision. Take back your power. Stop letting difficult people control your emotions. Set the boundaries you need. Stop wasting energy trying to change people who don't want to change. And most importantly, protect your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. Difficult people don't actually control your life, you do. But the problem is, most of us don't realize this. We let their negativity, their words, and their actions dictate how we feel. If someone snaps at you, you get angry. If they criticize you, you shut down. If they ignore you, you start wondering what you did wrong. But here's the truth: you are always in control of your reaction. And when you learn how to take charge of your emotions, difficult people stop having power over you. Think about it. Have you ever had a great day and then one rude comment completely ruined it? Maybe a coworker criticized your work, or a friend made a passive-aggressive comment and suddenly your mood plummeted. What changed? Nothing except your reaction. The comment itself didn't physically harm you. The words weren't a weapon. But because you let them get under your skin, they stole your energy, your focus, and your happiness. And this is exactly how difficult people control us, not through their behavior, but through our response to it. The good news is, you don't have to let that happen. You can train yourself to stay in control. No matter what someone says or does. The first step: realizing that your emotions are yours to manage. No one can make you feel anything unless you allow it. Yes, someone can be rude. Yes, someone can push your buttons. But their actions only affect you if you let them. And the moment you recognize that truth, you take back your power. Let's talk about how to do that. The next time someone says something negative, pause before you react. Seriously, just pause. Most people immediately fire back with anger, frustration, or defensiveness. But when you pause, take a breath, and stay calm, you stop their negativity from controlling you. You give yourself space to decide how to respond instead of just reacting on impulse. And guess what? This drives difficult people crazy. They want you to explode. They want you to engage. They feed off of your reaction. But when you stay cool, you take away their fuel. Another powerful strategy: detachment. If someone is being negative, imagine their words bouncing off of you like a rubber ball. Don't absorb them. Don't take them personally. When you learn to detach from people's opinions, you stop being affected by their negativity. You realize that their bad attitude, their anger, their criticism, it's theirs, not yours. And when you refuse to take it on, you stay in control. Here's something else to remember. Most difficult people are projecting their own issues onto you. The person who constantly criticizes you. They probably feel insecure about themselves, the person who tries to control everything. They're probably dealing with their own fear and anxiety. The person who always complains. They're unhappy with their own life. Their behavior isn't really about you, it's about them. And when you realize that, it becomes much easier to stop taking things personally. Another key to handling difficult people is choosing where to put your energy. Imagine you have a limited amount of energy each day, because you do. Every time you engage in negativity, every time you stress over someone's words, you're wasting your precious energy on something that doesn't serve you. Instead of letting difficult people drain you, redirect your focus to what actually matters. Your goals, your growth, your peace. The more you focus on yourself and your own progress, the less power others have over you. And finally, remember this: walking away is always an option. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every person is worth your time. If someone is consistently toxic, if they refuse to respect you, if they drain you every time you interact with them, you don't have to stay in that environment. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's necessary. You get to decide who gets access to you, and sometimes the best response is no response at all. So here's the takeaway: difficult people only control you if you let them. When you take charge of your reactions, when you stop feeding into their negativity, when you protect your energy and set clear boundaries, you take back your power. And that's how you win. Boundaries are not about being rude, cutting people off, or building walls. Boundaries are about protecting your energy, your time, and your peace. If you don't have clear boundaries, difficult people will walk all over you. They will manipulate you, drain you, and make you feel like you don't have a choice. But here's the truth: you always have a choice. And setting boundaries is one of the most powerful things you can do to take back control of your life. Most people don't set boundaries because they're afraid. They worry about upsetting others, hurting feelings, or coming across as mean. But here's what you need to understand: having boundaries is not selfish. It's necessary. You cannot keep pouring your energy into people who don't respect you. You cannot keep saying yes to things that drain you. You cannot keep allowing people to take more from you than you're willing to give. That's not kindness, that's self-sacrifice. And if you don't set limits, you will burn out. One of the biggest mistakes people make when setting boundaries is feeling like they have to explain themselves. You don't owe anyone an elaborate reason for why you're choosing to protect your time or energy. A simple "that doesn't work for me, I can't do that right now," or "I need some space" is enough. Difficult people will try to guilt trip you, argue with you, or pressure you into changing your mind. That's their problem. Your job is to stand firm. Here's something else to remember: boundaries are not just about what you say, they're about what you tolerate. If you keep allowing people to treat you a certain way, they will keep doing it. You have to show people how to treat you by the way you respond to their behavior. If someone constantly disrespects you and you keep engaging, they will never change. But if you remove yourself from the conversation, walk away, or refuse to engage, they will eventually realize that their behavior no longer works on you. Difficult people push back when you set boundaries because they benefit from you not having them. They want you to keep saying yes when you mean no. They want you to keep putting their needs before your own. They want you to keep playing small so they can feel big, but once you set boundaries, you disrupt their control. And that's why it's so important to stay firm. A huge part of setting boundaries is learning to be okay with people being upset. You are not responsible for other people's emotions. If someone gets angry because you set a boundary, that's their reaction to deal with, not yours. Let them be mad. Let them throw a fit. Let them think whatever they want. You are not here to please everyone. You are here to protect your peace. And sometimes that means disappointing others. Think about the most confident, respected people you know. Do they let others walk all over them? Do they constantly apologize for setting limits? No, they have strong boundaries and people respect them because of it. They understand that saying no is not rude, it's necessary. They know that their energy is valuable and they refuse to waste it on people who don't appreciate it. That's the kind of strength you need to embody. If you struggle with setting boundaries, start small. Say no to something minor and build from there. The more you practice, the easier it gets. And over time, you'll realize that having boundaries doesn't push people away, it attracts the right ones. The people who respect you will support your boundaries. The people who don't were never truly in your corner to begin with. At the end of the day, you are responsible for protecting your own energy. No one else is going to do it for you. Difficult people will always try to take more than they should, but it's up to you to decide what you allow. Set the boundary. Hold the line. And watch how your life transforms when you finally stop tolerating what drains you. Difficult people will drain your energy, test your patience, and sometimes make you question your own sanity. But here's the hard truth: you cannot change them. No matter how much you try, no matter how much logic you use, and no matter how many times you explain yourself, they will not change unless they want to, and most of the time, they don't. So instead of wasting your energy trying to fix, correct, or convince them, focus on what you can control: your own mindset, emotions, and reactions. One of the biggest mistakes people make with difficult people is believing that if they just say the right thing, handle the situation perfectly, or give them enough love, patience, or understanding, that person will change. But difficult people are often stuck in their own patterns. They may be fueled by negativity, thrive on drama, or be so caught up in their own victim mindset that they refuse to see any other perspective. No matter how much effort you put into trying to help them, it will never be enough, because they don't actually want to be helped. They want to stay exactly where they are. The only thing you can control is how you show up. Instead of trying to fix them, work on managing your own emotional responses. Instead of trying to make them happy, work on protecting your own peace. This shift in focus changes everything. Because when you stop engaging in the battle, when you stop feeding into their negativity, when you stop giving them the reaction they're looking for, they lose their power over you. Think about the last time you argued with a difficult person. Did it go anywhere? Or did it just drain you and make you even more frustrated? Most of the time, engaging with a toxic person only makes things worse. They don't want resolution. They don't want compromise. They want control. And the best way to take that control away from them is to refuse to play their game. When you realize you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to, you take your power back. You don't have to respond to every negative comment. You don't have to justify your choices. You don't have to get dragged into someone else's emotional chaos. You can simply step back, disengage, and protect your energy. And guess what? That will frustrate them more than anything. Because difficult people want you to react. They want you to fight back. They want you to feel powerless. But when you remain calm and refuse to engage, you show them that their tactics don't work on you. Detaching from difficult people doesn't mean ignoring them completely. Sometimes you still have to interact with them, whether it's a family member, a boss, or a coworker. But what it does mean is choosing how much access they have to you. You decide what you engage with and what you let go. You decide when to walk away from an argument. You decide when to stop explaining yourself. And the more you do this, the more control you gain over your own life. Another key shift: stop expecting them to be different. One of the biggest reasons we get frustrated with difficult people is because we keep hoping they'll change. We keep expecting them to suddenly become kind, considerate, or self-aware, and every time they don't, we feel disappointed, angry, or hurt. But what if you just accepted that this is who they are? What if you stopped expecting anything different? When you stop expecting difficult people to behave in a way they are incapable of, you stop being disappointed. You stop wasting energy trying to make them something they're not. You see them for what they are and adjust your behavior accordingly. That's not giving up, that's freeing yourself from unnecessary frustration. At the end of the day, difficult people are not your problem to fix, but your energy, your reactions, and your peace. That is your responsibility. The moment you shift your focus from trying to change them to managing yourself, everything becomes easier. You stop feeling so drained. You stop feeling powerless. You regain control over your emotions and your time. So let them be who they are. Let them have their negativity. Let them keep their drama. You focus on your peace. Because at the end of the day, the only person you can truly change is yourself. And that's more than enough. Walking away is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It takes courage to remove yourself from situations and people that do not respect your boundaries, your time, or your peace. The reason so many people stay stuck in toxic relationships, difficult workplaces, or draining friendships is that they believe walking away means they've failed. But here's the truth: choosing to protect your peace is never a failure. It's one of the most powerful decisions you can make. Difficult people thrive on control. They want you to stay engaged. They want you to keep trying to explain yourself. They want you to feel trapped in the cycle of their negativity. The moment you walk away, you take away their power. You show them that their tactics no longer work on you. And while they may try to pull you back in with guilt, manipulation, or anger, standing firm in your decision is how you truly reclaim your freedom. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to walk away is the fear of what others will think. You worry that people will judge you for cutting ties. You worry that you'll be seen as the bad guy. But here's what you need to understand: the people who genuinely care about you will respect your decision, and the ones who don't. They were never truly in your corner to begin with. It's also important to recognize that walking away doesn't always mean cutting someone off completely. Sometimes it simply means choosing how much access they have to you. If you have a difficult coworker, you might not be able to quit your job, but you can stop engaging in their drama. If you have a toxic family member, you might not be able to remove them from your life, but you can limit your interactions. Walking away is about creating distance physically, emotionally, or both, so that their negativity no longer has a grip on you. Many people hold on to toxic relationships because they believe things will eventually change. You tell yourself that if you just hold on a little longer, if you just try a little harder, things will get better. But here's the harsh reality: if someone has repeatedly shown you that they don't respect you, they are not suddenly going to start. People don't change unless they want to. And if someone consistently drains you, disrespects you, or manipulates you, the healthiest thing you can do is step away. Walking away is not about giving up, it's about choosing yourself. It's about recognizing that your energy, time, and mental well-being matter. You are not obligated to stay in spaces that make you feel small. You are not required to tolerate behavior that depletes you. And you are certainly not responsible for fixing someone who refuses to change. The biggest shift happens when you stop seeing walking away as a loss and start seeing it as a gain. You gain peace. You gain clarity. You gain time and energy to pour into the relationships and opportunities that actually fulfill you. You cannot build the life you want if you're constantly tied to people and situations that drain you. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is to let go. If walking away feels scary, remind yourself of this: staying in a toxic situation is scarier. Staying where you are mistreated, disrespected, or unfulfilled will rob you of your happiness and potential. Yes, leaving can be uncomfortable. Yes, it may take time to adjust. But in the long run, prioritizing your well-being will always be worth it. And here's what happens when you finally walk away: you make space for something better. When you remove the toxic energy from your life, you create room for positive, uplifting relationships. When you stop engaging in negativity, you free yourself to focus on growth and happiness. When you refuse to stay in a place that isn't serving you, you open the door to new opportunities. So if you've been holding on to something that no longer serves you, ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Are you afraid of disappointing others? Of stepping into the unknown? Of change itself? Because whatever your fear is, staying in a situation that drains you is not the answer. Your peace is worth more. Your happiness is worth more. You are worth more. At the end of the day, walking away is not about them, it's about you. It's about choosing to protect your energy, your time, and your life. And once you finally take that step, you'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner. Forgiveness is not about letting the other person off the hook. It's not about excusing their behavior, pretending it didn't happen, or saying that what they did was okay. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself. It's about releasing the weight of anger, resentment, and pain so that you can move forward. Because the truth is, holding on to resentment does not hurt the other person, it only hurts you. It keeps you trapped in a cycle of negativity, replaying the same hurt over and over in your mind while they go on with their life, unaffected. The difficult people often don't even realize or care how much they've hurt you. They may never apologize. They may never change, and waiting for them to acknowledge their wrongdoing only keeps you stuck. But here's what you need to understand: forgiveness is not about them. It's about you. It's about choosing to let go, not for their sake, but for your own peace of mind. Think about it like this. Imagine you're carrying a heavy backpack filled with bricks. Each brick represents a grudge, a past hurt, or an unresolved resentment. The longer you carry it, the heavier it gets. It slows you down. It exhausts you. It steals your joy. But the moment you choose to forgive, it's like setting the backpack down. You lighten your load. You free yourself to move forward without the weight of the past dragging you down. A lot of people resist forgiveness because they think it means allowing the person back into their life. It doesn't. You can forgive someone and still keep your distance. You can release the resentment while maintaining the boundaries you need to protect yourself. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It means choosing to no longer let that person's actions control your emotions. Some people also believe that forgiving makes them weak, that if they let go of their anger, they're somehow giving the other person power. But the opposite is true. Forgiveness is the ultimate act of strength. It takes real courage to say, I will not let this define me. I will not let this control my happiness. It's easy to stay angry. It's easy to hold a grudge. What's hard is choosing to move forward despite the pain. Forgiveness doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. And sometimes it's a choice you have to make over and over again. Some wounds take longer to heal. Some betrayals cut deeper. But every time you choose to release the resentment instead of holding on to it, you take back a little more of your power. One of the best ways to begin forgiving is to shift your perspective. Instead of focusing on what they did to you, focus on what you can learn from the situation. What did it teach you about yourself? About boundaries? About the kind of people you allow in your life? Often, the most painful experiences come with the most powerful lessons. And when you start seeing them that way, it becomes easier to let go. Another important part of forgiveness is self-forgiveness. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. You blame yourself for allowing someone to hurt you, for not seeing the red flags sooner, for staying too long, or for reacting in ways you wish you hadn't. But beating yourself up doesn't change the past, it only keeps you stuck. You did the best you could with the knowledge and awareness you had at the time. And now, you know better. Now, you can choose differently. At the end of the day, forgiveness is not about rewriting history. It's about reclaiming your future. It's about saying, I refuse to let this hurt define me. I refuse to carry this pain any longer. I choose peace, because when you forgive, you don't just free the other person, you free yourself. And that freedom, that's where your true power lies.